I find myself slightly conflicted on the Electric Dreams exhibition that's at the Tate Modern and going to be showing there until June 1st. It's subtitled Art and Technology Before the Internet, which means that it covers the period of the 50s through to the 80s, sort of into the early 90s. And as a result of that deliberate choice, there is no conversation around the modern issues that are facing the artistic community from the interaction that it has with computers, particularly with regards to AI, which felt slightly strange to me given that part of the exhibition showed things like very early examples of computer art and the earliest piece of sculpture that is ever considered to have been designed by a computer. The fact that those pieces were there and there wasn't a discussion of any of the modern context felt slightly weird to me. Putting that to one side though, since it very clearly wasn't what the exhibition was trying to do, on its own terms I found this an experience slightly of two halves. I very much preferred the second half to the first. I think early on I was slightly put off by the very mathematical approach that some of the artists were taking, whereas later it became more working with the technology rather than using technological principles. That being said, there were things that I liked in the earlier section. For example, I particularly enjoyed this piece in which electromagnetism allows a needle to pluck a string in a completely random set of sounds. My preference for the later section may also be because there's far more interaction later on. A number of the later pieces of work have headphones next to them, and I very definitely recommend using those headphones as much as possible. It completely changes your experience of the work. I am very definitely not an expert on modern art, and if you are or you particularly enjoy it, you may well have a different experience to me. I would say that it was still worth going to. I learned a lot about myself actually in terms of what I respond to in art. But the issue that I started with was a real stumbling block for me all the way through. We were seeing the enthusiasm for new technologies, but we weren't seeing any of the consequences that's having on the artistic community today. And to me, that lack was a fundamental flaw that I couldn't get over.